cats out here that want to try to feed these women the idea that they can come however has to take on the onus of overlooking all of her drama, of overlooking all of her baggage. But it's not hurting us. It's hurting the woman who doesn't have all of that baggage. Because if a woman doesn't have those issues, shouldn't she be held in higher regard than a woman who does? When it comes to the educational process, if you dropped out in 8th grade, shouldn't someone who has a master's degree been held in higher regard than you in the education process? We're talking about logic here. We're not talking about feelings. The bottom line is what we have in this society is men, why it seems like the pickings are so slim for us is because every woman is put in the same boat now. It doesn't matter what a woman's qualifications are. And the crazy thing is the women who are more qualified are buying into the mindset that they should be equal with the women who haven't done things to further qualify or better qualify themselves. So the women who should be looking at everyone else saying, I'm above y'all, I'm better than y'all, I didn't do the things that y'all did, those are the women that are perpetuating this idea that all women should be considered equal. So there is no, in this particular society, there is no such thing as a low quality woman for all intents and purposes. But today, we're going to make a differentiation between the two. I appreciate all of y'all being in here right now, man. All right, let's get into it. First of all, let's quantify what quality means. You see, because any woman can say she's a quality woman, just like any man can say he's a quality man. But let me tell you who determines your quality as far as relationships go. Every woman that you've ever been in a relationship with, they're the identifiers of your quality. They're the perpetuators of your quality. They're the ones who determine what your quality is in the context of a relationship. You can't do that as a man. The same thing with the woman. You can't quantify how much quality you have, how valuable you are in the context of a relationship and the constructs of a relationship until we have an opportunity to talk to the men that you've been in a relationship with. And I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. The more people you've been in a relationship with, the less quality you have. Because if you've been in 5 relationships, that means 5 relationships failed. If you've been in 10, 10 failed. Hell, if I only been in 5 and you've been in 10, I got 5 more. My quality is twice as good as yours. I remember the Buffalo Bills of the, it had to be either the 80s or 90s, the late 80s or early 90s, man. They went to 4 straight Super Bowls. Jim Kelly, Thurman Thomas, Andre Reed, those guys. They went to 4 straight Super Bowls and lost them all. So their quality as a Super Bowl contending team is not as high as it would have been if they had won at least one of those Super Bowls. They suck as a Super Bowl team. They're hell as a regular season and playoff team, but they suck as a Super Bowl team. So it's the same thing in a relationship. The people you've been in a relationship with determine how good you were in a relationship, how much quality you have in a relationship. That's why I say to you all the time, if a woman is talking to you about a man she's had in the past, tell her to call that man or shut up. If she's not going to call that man and let you talk to him, she needs to write down all of these things she's saying so you can call that man and ask him all of these questions and get his side of it. Otherwise, she's doing what anyone would do, making themselves seem high quality, even though you don't truly know if they were. So let's talk about 5 ways to know if she's a quality woman and worth your investment of time and energy. Now, the first thing is this. She hasn't been in a serious relationship for at least a year. Any woman who's rebounding out of a serious relationship, she's not a quality woman. She's a damaged woman. She's a damaging woman. She's a woman who has been through emotional turmoil for however long they've been together. Some of these long-term relationships have been long years. She's not even emotionally stable at that point. That woman needs a break from relationships. She's not a quality woman. She needs a break from relationships. See, when we talk about quality, we're talking about strictly relationships here. She may be a wonderful woman in her career. She may be a wonderful mother. She may be a wonderful friend. She may be a wonderful tutor. She may be a wonderful guide for younger women. I'm talking about you within the constructs of a relationship. What's her quality there? So let me make that disclaimer. This topic is strictly about a woman's value in a relationship. That's it. So if she's been in a serious relationship within the past year, then she still has some emotional ties. So let me tell you something. I've met a woman who hated the man that she was in a relationship with, but that's an emotion. Those are emotional ties. See, you have to get out of that beta male mindset thinking that all you got to care about is if the woman still loves the man. You got to think about if the woman hates the man. Love and hate are both emotional ties to the previous man. So if a woman's been in a relationship within the past year, I can almost guarantee you she has some emotional ties. I mean, a serious relationship. A serious relationship is a relationship that lasted at least a year. So if she hadn't been out of that thing for a year, man, that's some emotional ties that you don't want to deal with. See, let me tell you something you don't want to do. When you enter into a situation with the woman, you want to be able to just go ahead and build a relationship. You don't want to have to build her back up before you can build a relationship. It's not your job to build her back up. She got to go to God for that. She got to know how to beseech the Most High. She got to know how to rely on God to build her back up. Her inner circle. Let God work through the people around her to build herself back up. You don't want to go into a relationship where you got to waste a year building a woman back up before you can even build a relationship. Because let me tell you what happens. If you got to build her from level 4 to level 5, that means that you got to stay on level 4 until she gets to level 5 if you're trying to build with her together. So you got to stay there, stagnant. That's what happens with men. You go into these relationships with these women who are not ready for a relationship, and then you have to stagnate your own life, and you stop growing, you stop grinding, you stop doing the things that you want to do in your life, and before you know it, you don't remember who you are because you've been stuck in that one spot for so long. And some men will even take a step back and go backwards. Some men will go from level 7 down to level 4 to help fix a woman to get her to level 5. Now, even when you get her to level 5, yes, you can find some sense of accomplishment in helping someone, but not at the expense of you dropping 2 levels in the process. So if she's been in a relationship, a serious relationship within the past year, maybe even 2 years, but I'm gonna say at least a year. She needs to have not been in a serious relationship for at least a year. These are one of the telltale signs you need to look for. You need to be totally aware of this. Never enter in any type of thing any type of meaningful situation with a woman who's just getting out of a serious relationship. Doesn't matter if she ended, doesn't matter if he ended it. Doesn't matter. Another thing is this. A quality woman doesn't have friends with benefits. See, friends with benefits is strictly a way to say that two people just have a sexual relationship with nothing else. That's what friends with benefits is. Because most times people who call themselves truly genuine friends don't end up being friends with benefits. They may cross that line once or so, but they don't end up being friends with benefits. A friends with benefits relationship starts off as a friends with benefits relationship. It starts off as a sexual relationship. And people just don't want to say, I got somebody I'm just having sex with. Women don't, men don't mind. But a woman don't want to say she got somebody that all she got them for in her life is to have sex. All they give her is sex. A woman don't want to tell you that. She feels cheap when she does that. It cheapens her value to herself. So a woman with friends with benefits doesn't value her body. She doesn't value her body enough to make a man put in work for it. I think a woman should make a man put in work for her body. If she's maintaining it, if she's preserving it. Now, if she's been with 15 men, she don't have the right to make you wait. If she make you wait, then she think you're a sucker. After 15 men, it's too late to try to make somebody wait on that. It ain't worth waiting on. And this is just the reality of it. So a quality woman doesn't have friends with benefits. She doesn't have anybody. Let me tell you something about a true quality woman. She never allows her lust to get the best of her unless she is in the presence of a man that she wants to build a life with. An alpha man that she sees herself dying with, getting old and dying with. She want to bash children. She want to do everything. That woman may allow her lust to get the best of her, but she damn sure fights it. But no quality woman allows her lust to get the best of her to where she's willing to just have a strictly sexual relationship with someone. That's just not a quality woman. Not a woman you want to be in a relationship with. You don't want to be in a relationship with a woman like that, because this is the thing. If she'll give that to someone else, why in the hell would you try to give her more? If she'll accept that from someone else, that's all she's worth. You're only worth what you'll accept. So if she'll accept that, she's worth that. It's the bottom line. Again, this is part one of a two-part series, 5 ways to know if she's a quality woman, worth your investment of time or energy. And of course, you know, I've got to do 5 ways to know if you're a quality man and worth a woman's investment of time and energy. I got to do both. So another thing is this. If she's the driver, whenever her friends go out and drinking will be involved, that's a quality woman. She has high quality. Now I know you may say, well, man, what that got to do with her being a quality woman? She the driver with her friends and go out and drink it. For one thing, that means that if she does drink, she's not a heavy drinker. Most times, if she's the driver, when they go out for drinks, she doesn't drink. Another thing is this. These girls plan on getting wasted because they got a designated driver. You got to really trust somebody, and you got to really hold somebody in high regard to trust them with your life in a situation where you wouldn't even trust yourself with your life. So if her friends trust her to get them home safely, not take advantage of them, not allow anything to happen to them when they're wasted out of their minds, then they hold her in very high regard. So I'm not saying how she ranks within the rest of the women in the world, but within the circle of her friends, she's the best one of the bunch. So you got to look at things like this when it comes to quality woman. You can't look at it from a selfish perspective. You have to look at it from a character perspective. What kind of character does a woman have when she has to always have somebody else drive whenever she go out? She can't never drive when she go out because she knows she's going to get sloppy. Now contrast that to the woman who's always driving when her friends go out because they know she ain't going to get sloppy. They know she probably ain't going to drink. They know that she's going to be the one that can drive them all home safely. Value is value. You have to look at value from a character perspective before anything else. Because a beautiful woman, let me tell you something. The book of Proverbs says a fair woman who is without discretion is as a jewel of gold in a swine's snout. A beautiful woman that has no wherewithal, that has no self-awareness, that has no common sense, that has no self-control, that has no self-respect is like a mud pie. It looks good when the little girl make it, but if you take a bite of it, it don't taste like no other pie you ever had. So you have to watch her behavior, listen to her, see how she interacts with people. See, before you think about even trying to build anything with a woman, you have to observe her for a period of time. You have to observe her for a period of time. And these are the things you need to be observing, things that matter, things that you think, not things that you feel. Another thing along those same lines, if her friends and family come to her for advice, motivation, or direction, she's a quality woman. She's a woman worth the investment of time and energy to get to know, because she has her head on right and the people around her know that. See, you have women who are one way when they're not around their family and friends, and then they turn into a totally different beast when they're around them. And then you have these women whose family and friends are one way when they're not around this woman, but then when they come around this woman, they're in the very best behavior. You find a younger woman who was sought for advice by her older sisters. That's a woman that you should be spending your time with. You should invest the time and energy to get to know, because the woman knows some things. And the people around her who are older and should be more experienced are aware of the fact that she's a good decision maker. These are the type of things you need to. We always complain about women making dumb decisions. So if older women around her rely on her, if her friends and family and relatives, everyone come and rely on her for advice, for guidance, for motivation, then that means that woman makes great decisions. And more than anything, what you want on your team is a woman who makes good decisions. You don't want a woman who makes terrible decisions all the time. That's a woman who will spend money she don't have to spend. That's a woman who will spend too much money when she go do anything. That's a woman who will overdo things when she knows she shouldn't overdo them. That's a woman who will probably end up overweight. That's probably a woman who will probably end up sick. That's a woman who will probably end up going to get a half education. What's a half education? A half education is a bachelor's degree. Any woman who stops at a bachelor's degree has a half education. Because there aren't many things you can get done with a bachelor's degree that have longevity, that have growth potential, that have infinite growth potential. There's just not many things. So if you're going to go get a student loan for a bachelor's degree, you might well at least get a master's. That's why I always tell you guys about women with 2 degrees. See what I'm saying? Now, another thing is this. We're talking about this from an alpha perspective. We're not talking about this from a perspective of men who get taken advantage of by women. We're not talking about this from a perspective of men who can't contain their energy and control the energy when they're around women. We're talking about this from an alpha perspective. You know what I'm saying? We're talking about this from a king perspective. Nothing else applies here. So another thing is this, man. And this is a big one for me, man. This is a big one. She still says yes, sir, and no, sir. Yes, ma'am, and no, ma'am to her parents. That's a big one for me. Like, that one has never failed me, brothers. I'm going to be honest with you. That one has never failed me. Whenever I have met a woman who still says yes, sir, no, sir, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am to her parents, she's a good girl. I mean, I want you to beware of that one. Beware of that one, man. That represents a reverence that you need a woman to have for you. See, if you're a king, you need a woman to have a certain reverence for you. And if you can see her with that reverence for her, she's already used to that reverence. Not because they're her parents. You're saying, I know somebody's going to say, well, those are her parents, though. Why is she going to reverence? It's not about her parents. It's just her parents represent authority. She's not revering her parents just because they're her parents. She's revering her parents because they're the authority figures in her life. And if you become an authority figure in her life, she's going to revere you as well. I keep telling y'all, man, a husband is just a daddy for a grown woman. That's all.
It's the book of homie. Read it,